A very warm hello to everyone all across the world, all across India. So I am Shruti Kaura and we are here to learn the part 2 of Talk to Anyone. So let's go ahead, let's find out. So as I just shared with all of you, I am Shruti Kaura class and I am an award winner at Unacademy. So before I start this beautiful session, let me tell you, all of you who haven't watched the part 1, please go ahead and do watch it. It will definitely change your life. You learn how to impress and influence anyone in your life. Let's go ahead. So my code, if you're planning to join Unacademy, if you're planning to enroll yourself for the Unacademy subscription, then use the code SCORALIVE. Moving further, there are 2 subscriptions at Unacademy, as I always say, Iconic and Plus. Even though if you want to get benefit of all the schemes of Unacademy or all the discounts, use the code SCORALIVE, put it here, click on proceed to pay. Same procedure for both the subscriptions. It's just like that. In Iconic, you'll get the 1:1 mentoring. That's for sure. Next, there are a lot of batch courses. Do enroll yourself in all that and get the maximum benefit. We have given so many benefits to all of you. And as I always say, no doubt price hikes and other things are there. But then at the end of the day, one who maintains consistency, who knows that he or she has some ultimate goal to achieve in their life, he or she always comes out as a winner. Then there is a scholarship test as well. Again, don't forget to use the code to get the maximum benefit. Now, books that can change your life, yes. These are the proven books. These books have the proven strategies that will definitely change your life. As I always say, leaders are always readers. Yes, a leader cannot be a leader if he or she is not reading. He or she has to be an avid reader. Let's go ahead. Now, the last time when I stopped the session in the part 1, I shared certain things with you, a lot of body language, posture, big baby, PO, then childhood smile, hello friend, and many other things. Today I'm going to say, if you want to start conversation with somebody, but you don't want that you should start that conversation, you want that the other person will start a conversation with you. So how to make people want to start a conversation with you? In that case, everybody all across India, please listen to me. Always carry something with you which attracts others towards you. Others will definitely get attracted towards you if you have got something unusual, something attractive with you. So always carry that something unusual thing. And how it will benefit you? See, if you carry something uncommon, something slightly unusual thing, so people will assume that you are also an uncommon person. If you are the owner of uncommon things, unusual things, then people automatically assume that you're also an uncommon person. Now, this technique is called as always wear a what's it. What's that? What's it? So whenever you go to a social gathering, meeting, be it professional or personal, wear or carry something unusual. This will always give people an excuse to approach you when they see something uncommon, maybe a watch, maybe a different car, maybe a different phone, maybe anything. So they'll get an excuse, they'll find an excuse and they'll approach you. So in that situation, you are not the one who's initiating a conversation. People will find a reason to start or to initiate a conversation with you. It could be any object that draws people's attention, but you should have that, provided you should have that panache, you should have that confidence to carry that unusual thing with you. Yeah, you should. Why you shouldn't? Next, basically it inspires other people to approach you and they'll ask you, what's that? What's it? So be a what's it seeker. Always try to seek something which is unusual, maybe a hat, maybe a different bag, maybe a different car, a phone, a watch, some shoes, whatever. Try to become an expert at scrutinizing the apparel, even Even if you would like to, stay ahead of somebody, if you would like to, approach somebody, try to scrutinize the apparel of those people and try to, do it the same for you. This is considered as one of the best ways to impress and influence someone. Next, the next point is that, ma'am, how to meet the people I want to meet, or you want to meet, or we want to meet. I don't want to meet some random people, right? We all are kind of well-read people. We have already spent some amount of life in experiencing others. Now, maybe we don't want to meet the people we really don't want. So how is that possible? I'll tell you. Let's say you went to a party and you started liking somebody. What will you do in that case? Most of you, what will you do? Most of you will approach that person, or some of you will either ask the host to introduce you to that person. You'll ask your friend, you'll ask the host to introduce you to that person. Either you'll try to approach that person, or you'll ask the host of that social gathering, that party, to introduce you to that particular person. So, rather than doing all these things, why don't you do something that the other person will automatically come to you and start talking to you? Oh my God, now my whole class is thinking, ma'am, is it possible? Yes, provided you have got that guts, you have got that strategies with you. So do something that the other person will come and start talking to you. If you want to meet a special person, then do something special for him. Come on. I mean, I strongly believe in this particular point, that you want to meet that someone special, but you're not ready to do something special for him or her. Why? You should go ahead and do something special for that person, right? Do something that the person with whom you want to talk, you want to approach, that person will automatically approach to you first. Plan something special, do something special. This is called as the who is that technique. Who is that? Who is he? Who is she? The first technique that I told you today is what's it approach. That is, carry something unusual or uncommon with you. Strategy number 2. You don't want to approach somebody even though you like that person, and you want the person should automatically approach to you. How? In that case, do something special for that person, right? Then you are in a crowd. Oh my God, everywhere we go, it's a crowd. So look at this person, the person who's shining like gold. So how to get yourself noticed in a crowd? Is there any other strategy that I can get myself noticed in a crowd? Let's go and find out. Let's suppose, you went to a place where you are like a fish out of water. Maybe, although you could be a fish like out of water, it's not necessary. Basically, you don't know somebody and most of the people don't know you. But you still want people to notice you. I'm repeating once again. You went to some meeting, some social gathering, somewhere where people don't know you, but you want people to notice you. Then keep your eyes and ears open. अपनी आंखें और कान खुले रखें. Try to find your chance where people need you. In the sense, I went somewhere and I know that most of the people don't know me, but still I want them to notice me. So what am I going to do? Yes, this is some, kind of theoretical strategy that I have to keep my eyes and ears open. What do I exactly mean by that? Actually, see, people will notice you only if they have some purpose, if they see some useful purpose in you. I mean, this is a bitter pill that we all have to swallow, but people will only notice us for their own P for purpose or P for profit, whichever way you want to take it that way. So now, provide your support. I am repeating once again, provide your support, be everyone's favorite. There is no need to do what's it. in that situation, if you're in a crowd, not necessary that you are carrying something uncommon, you are doing something special for that person. No, what's it, no host, for who's that, no problem. Just simply, sidle up behind the swarm of your folks. Just kind of sit comfortably. But keep your ears and eyes open. Keep your eyes, on the people with whom you are kind of infiltrating their talks. Wait for any kind of flimsy, means any weak excuse will work. It will suffice. Any excuse. And then whenever you see the right opportunity, jump in. I'm repeating once again, no what's it, no who's that. You want to get yourself noticed in a crowd. Nobody knows you, but still you want the people should know you. So you have to give people what they want. So what did you do? You're sitting just quietly, comfortably, snugged in one side. And you're just infiltrating others' conversation. As soon as you saw an opportunity, you jumped. And you said, excuse me, I couldn't help but overhear. मैं, रह नहीं पाया, मैंने आप लोगों की बातें सुनी. Excuse me, I couldn't help but overhear. So, oh my God, will they be taken aback? Yes, for a moment. That's it. Okay, completely justified. They'll be taken aback. Oh my God, this person is so bad. He was actually listening to what we were talking. That's okay. It was just momentarily, right? Will they get over it? Yes, momentarily they will. And will you be in their conversation? Absolutely. Will you become a part of their conversation? No doubt, yeah. They get over it, right? They'll be taken aback, but that is all in a moment. That will all be momentarily. But definitely you will be in the conversation. That's absolutely. So do that. That's called as eavesdropping. Eavesdrop is like you are kind of barging into someone's conversation. Do that. That's okay. Now, there is one very boring question that everybody asks. Please stop asking that question. Or even if you are asking, please stop giving monotonous, boring, old, plain replies to the question. So let's learn what is that question and how to make that boring question, where are you from, an interesting one. So let's say I'm in conversation with somebody, right? Any one of you in the class, let's come in the live chat. I can see all of you in the live chat. So let's say I am conversing to this particular person. I said hello. Now you said hi. I said how are you? You said I'm fine. Then I said where are you from? I said I'm from Delhi. And then I said and you? So you said I'm Bombay. I said okay, nice. Then maybe you could have asked which place from Delhi. You have said South Delhi. Then you have asked the other person which place from Bombay. He must have said that maybe Mad Island or Chembur or Vasai or Bandra, whatever. Then there is an awkward silence between the two of you. I don't have anything to ask further because I don't know how much, I should try to enter into someone's life. This question up till here is okay, but how much should I ask further? Now, both of the persons don't want to talk, don't know actually, they don't know what to talk. It's not like that they don't want to talk. It's just like that they don't know. Hi, how are you? Where are you from? I'm from Delhi. Where are you? And how about you? So you said I'm from Bombay. Then he asked where in Delhi? You said South Delhi. He said maybe Bandra, Colaba, Santa Cruz. But then the idea is that after this conversation, you exactly don't know what to say. Now, both of you will try to come out of this situation because silence is always awkward. It's always uncomfortable. Now, if you will meet next time, what will happen? If the two of you will meet next time, you'll try to avoid each other because you really don't want to deal with the same situation. You will try to avoid each other, and both of you don't want to deal with the same situation. I sincerely hope that you all don't get into this kind of situation, or this situation will not happen to you. So please don't give just one line replies. If somebody asks you, where are you from? Don't say, I am from Madhya Pradesh. I am from UP. I am from, Uttarakhand. I am from Rajasthan. I am from Bihar. I am from West Bengal. I am from Andhra Pradesh. I am from Tamil Nadu. I am from Hyderabad. Simply don't give such answers. Rather than giving a one word, plain, monotonous, old, boring answer, talk about the specialities of your place. The speciality, what do I mean by the specialities of your place? For example, if I say, I am from India's most beautiful city, right? I am making the conversation interesting. Where are you from? I'm from the capital of India. Rather than saying I'm from Delhi, right? I'm from the dream city of India, rather than saying Bombay. So you said I'm from India's most beautiful city. So all of you, do you know which is India's most beautiful city? Everybody right there in the live chat, if you already know the answer. Yes, let's go ahead. So, yes, you all are somewhere you have tried to hit the dot in the middle. Let's go ahead. So, the royal past of Udaipur or Jaipur undoubtedly makes it the most beautiful city in India. Now, you said that I am from India's most beautiful city. Then try to give a reason that, I suppose the royal past of Udaipur or Jaipur or Jodhpur undoubtedly makes it the most beautiful city in India. So how this will help you? If you don't give those one word plain boring answers that I am from Delhi or I am from Bombay or I am from Jaipur or Udaipur, rather than giving these answers will help the other person to know more about your place and how updated you are about your city, about your state, about your town, about your village. So not only just say that I am from India's most beautiful city or the royal past of Udaipur or Jaipur or Jodhpur makes it the most beautiful city in India. Talk about the special food, the famous food of your place. Right? For example, Amritsar is famous for the Amritsari kulcha, that lassi, naan. Similarly, MP is famous for, poha, different varieties of poha. Bombay is famous for the, maybe the bhajia pav or the bel puri. Whatever. Right? Gujarat for the dhokla or for the khandvi. So similarly, you talk about the famous food of your place or the famous places. Those who are from Agra, they can talk about Taj Mahal, right? Similarly, talk about the culture as well, that our place, the food is like this, the food is, we love eating this food maybe on occasions or festivals. Then we have this special place there in Hyderabad. Let's talk about the Charminar, right? In Delhi, it's India Gate or anything, whatever you want to discuss. Even if it's Connaught Place, that's also okay. It need not to be a historical place. If you think that Connaught Place is very special to you, talk about that. Some culture about that place, right? For example, Kolkata. So Calcutta or Kolkata was actually the capital of Britishers earlier before Delhi. So you can talk a lot about that. Some interesting facts. Just now I mentioned about Kolkata. So you can discuss that interesting facts about your place. So basically, what is the idea? Why I am making this question more interesting? See, I'm pretty sure that earlier you were not aware, nobody actually knew the answer of where are you from earlier. Please be honest, put a hand on your heart, hands on your heart, everybody all across India, tell me honestly, did you know this trick earlier? Yes, no, because I know all the people who are listening to me all across the world, all across India, they are being very honest with me. So, Where are you from? Don't give just one word answer. Say, talk about some descriptive answer, speak some descriptive answer, talk about the famous food, famous place, famous building, famous landmark, culture, some interesting fact about your place. Basically, it will help the other person to know you more, and he or she will also try to see how updated you are with your place. Now, this is called as never the naked city. Don't just speak the plain city. Next, the next most boring question and the boring answer, although the question is not boring, but then the answer is generally very boring. Actually, how to make this question, what do you do, an interesting and exciting one. Trust me, by the way, before I go ahead, sometimes this question could be a little offending. It could be a little offensive to some people. What do you do? I'll tell you why. Whenever somebody asks you this question related to your profession, so don't just give a old, boring or a monotonous reply. Rather, speak about all the important points. I'll come to that point, that why this question could be sometimes derogatory, why it could be derogating question. I'll tell you that, but before that, how to make the answer interesting. Speak about all the important points of your job when you're giving the answer of what do you do. So of course, speak what do you do, but then talk about all the important points in your job. How you become interested in it. How do you see yourself 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line? What will be your future in this job? And your love, your passion for the work. How much you love your job, your work. Why? Now, again, the question is that, ma'am, if somebody has asked me, what do you do? Why should I give such a descriptive reply? How will this help? Ultimately, we are human beings. We search profit and loss in each and everything. So the idea is that if somebody has asked you this question, what do you do? Why do you need to give a descriptive answer? Because when you give a descriptive answer, some important points about your job, your future plans, how do you see yourself 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, all this will have a positive effect on the person, the one who's listening to you, the one who has asked the question to you, what do you do? He'll actually have a positive effect. You will have a positive effect on that person. And that person will start respecting your work because you are sounding so passionate, so much interested about your job. So he'll start respecting you. You'll start having a very positive effect on that person, even though howsoever menial your job is. It really doesn't matter, because koi kaam chota bada nahi hota. So howsoever menial it is. So that is never the naked job. Don't just give a plain answer of what do you do. Next, how to introduce your close friend with the host. What do I mean by that? What's the need of actually introducing my close friend to the host? No, that is not the idea. I'll tell you, the idea is that there is someone, let's say you went to a social gathering or a meeting or a personal, kind of a party with one of your friend, and you want to introduce your friend, right, with the host. So there is something that you should follow. Whenever you introduce your friend, any special person to the host, or even to others, not just to the host, I mean to say you are introducing someone to somebody, try not to just tell the name of the person. Try that you are not just going to say, hey, meet my friend Anna, meet my friend Joe. Don't just take that name. Try to tell about the special qualities of that person, right? Rather than just saying, meet my friend Vivan. So don't just say his or her name. Try to tell some special qualities of that person, right? So before I go ahead, I'll quickly tell you, whenever you go somewhere, carry something unusual with you so that people will be attracted towards you and they'll start approaching you before you approach them. Second, if you want that others will approach you to talk, so do something special for them. create a need for them to talk to you. Third, you don't want to carry something unusual. You don't want to do something special for others because you are in a crowd and nobody knows you. So just make yourself comfortable in some side place and listen to others. Keep your eyes and ears open. And when you find the right moment of the situation, then jump in and say that, I'm sorry, I just overheard. I couldn't help, but I overheard. So maybe now I can help you. After that, don't ask the plain, you can ask the question, where are you from? But don't give the plain answer. Add the name of your city in a descriptive way. Then you could talk about the famous places, food, culture, interesting facts, some famous buildings or landmarks of your place. Then rather than answering the plain simple question, what do you do, of like I am a software professional or something like that, tell some important points about your job. How do you see yourself in the future? How much you love your job, your work, how much passionate you are. Then you went somewhere with one of your friend, colleague or acquaintance or anybody, and you want that person to be introduced to everyone or maybe to the host or anybody in the party. So when you are introducing that person to somebody else, don't just take the name of that person. Now the question that's going on in your mind is that, ma'am, then what we are supposed to speak at this moment, at this juncture, what we are supposed to speak. Tell some special qualities of that person. Now what do I mean by special qualities? The hobbies of that person, the achievements of that person, the interest of that person, or the passion, the qualifications of that person. So make the conversations a little interesting for your guest. Is that point clear all across the India? It is called as the never the naked introduction. Never the naked city, never the naked job, and never the naked introduction. No, don't do that. Next. This is called as the HIP formula, that is hobbies, interest and passion. Next. How to make sure that the conversation doesn't get boring after some time. I told you there in the beginning, in the part 1, that sometimes when I'm talking to someone, after a certain length of time, after a certain period of time, the conversation gets a little boring. So how to make sure that the conversation does not get boring after some time? Now, why this happen? Why sometimes the conversation get boring? Because, the other person is not finding his or her interest matching with you. The other person starts finding out reasons to leave that conversation. He wants to go now, enough. Actually, in that case, pay attention to the conversation. Make it more interesting. Now, the question is that, now how can we make the conversation interesting? Because everybody will always do an interesting conversation. अगर आप किसी के साथ बैठे हो तो आप जानबूझ के boring conversation थोड़ी ना करोगे. You'll only discuss the topics you find interesting. Yeah, the topics on which you know the most. वो topic जिनमें आपको ज़्यादा आता है. But maybe the other person is not getting interested. He or she is not finding it interesting enough to continue the conversation. So if you realize while talking to the other person, if you realize that a particular topic is interesting for the listener, take it further, discuss it further. Now the question is that, ma'am, how do I find out which topic is interesting for the listener? Listeners, what are the interests, what are the hobbies or the passion of listener? What he wants to listen. See, if two people have something in common, so whenever you are sharing something with him or her, then suddenly when that interesting topic will come up, your conversation partner will jump it on naturally. For example, if stock market is his favorite area and you discuss stock market with him, you discuss random topics, right? You discussed maybe about college, maybe about India, maybe about US, maybe about economy, maybe about some, NGO, social work. But then all of a sudden, when you talked about stock market, that person suddenly, became interested as if he has, wake up from the sleep. So in that case, notice that how I'm giving you one example. Look here, let's say if someone mentions to you, you are discussing with someone and he or she mentioned that he plays squash, he loves bird watching, he has been to so many bird sanctuaries, or he loves watching animals, he has been to so many wildlife sanctuaries, wildlife parks, or he has a simple habit of stamp collection that is called as philately. So you are the listener in that case, or if you are the speaker and the other person has shared these things with you, he or she will suddenly jump up, he'll be excited, you feel that he's excited. So what do you have to say in return? Oh, you are a squasher, you play squash. Or you are a footballer, you play football. Oh, you are a cricketer, you love cricket. Oh, you are a birder, you love bird watching. Or you are an animal lover. Or you are a philatelist. Oh my God, that's great. So pick up those words, right? Pick up those words and talk about those words. Automatically your conversation will become interesting. I'll give you an example. One of the girl, she used to work as a kind of a dietitian at somebody's place, right? And that girl tried many, she attempted many times to talk to her owner. Her owner, she's a very reserved kind of a lady. She, did not used to talk much. She doesn't talk much. But that chef, that dietitian, tried much to talk to that lady. But one day, it was raining and they both were sitting in the, I think, balcony or somewhere. She was waiting for the rain to stop and she wanted to go to home. In the meantime, she tried several conversation topics, and in between, she just tried to shift one of the plant to somewhere else, to which for the first time, the owner retorted her by saying that please don't do that. The plants will be hurt. She failed to understand, and she went to some, counselor or somewhere by chance, and she raised this point, she raised this situation, she discussed this situation with the counselor. So the counselor told that, I suppose you failed to understood or pick the interest of your owner or of your client or customer. Your client seems interested in plants, so from next day start talking about plants. The lady, the dietitian did the same thing. She started talking about plants, and her client, she found that topic interesting, and they both started talking to each other, right? So that's a very wonderful thing. That is why I just told you that when you are talking to somebody and you really want, the conversation should not get boring after some time. So look out for the clues, look out for the words that the listener finds interesting, and then say, oh, you are a footballer, you are a plant lover, you're a paleontologist, you're a footballer, you're a cricketer, you're a philatelist, you're an animal lover. That will actually pipe up. Your listener will actually get excited. He or she will be filled with enthusiasm. Getting the point? So be a word detective. When you pick up on the references, pick up the references that excites you to. It's not only about your listener. Most of the time, maybe the topic could excite you too. It will parlay you into the conversation. The stranger just thrills to do that, because everyone is interested in talking about the things which are of their interest. People always people will always talk about the things which are of their interest. So look for word clues, be a word detective. So this technique is called as be a good word detective if you really don't want the conversation to get boring after some time. Next. Truly confident people know they grow more by listening. I'm just telling one thing to you. Those who are truly confident they know that you grow more by listening, not by talking. When you're learning something, you have to listen more rather than talking. Now, oh my God, what is this? Can you tell me in one line all across India, all across the world? There are so many people present here in the session. I want all of you to write in the live chat. Describe this image in one word. What is this? What could you see here? So this is, yes, this is a spotlight. So now the question is that how to make sure that people talk on the topic which you want them to talk. Now, in the previous technique where you were acting as a word detective, sometimes the situation arises that your listeners speak something but you are not interested in them. You're not interested in that particular topic, not in them, but in that particular topic. So how to make sure that people talk on the topic which you want them to talk? Oh my God. So in that case, people are always interested in what they want to speak and they are not interested in listening to others. Speaking is something which everybody loves to do. Nobody is actually interested in listening to others. So now you want to attract everybody's attention towards you. The question is that you want to attract everybody's attention towards you. So will you become a speaker? No, be a listener. Start listening to others. Because everybody likes good listeners, rather than good speakers. This is called as the Swiveling Spotlight. Now what is the meaning of swivel? For example, I am sitting on this chair. It turns here, it turns there. It's a swivel chair. And what is Swiveling Spotlight? Obviously, that rotates, that turns, that moves in a room, in an auditorium. That goes here and there. That is Swiveling Spotlight, and that is a 19th technique. So whenever you meet someone, imagine that a giant revolving spotlight is there between you. Please, everybody listen that if you really want the other person to talk what you want them to talk, then between you and the other person, imagine a big revolving spotlight is there between the two of you. When you are talking, the spotlight is on you. When the new person is speaking, it's shining on him or her. So whenever somebody speaks, imagine the spotlight is shining on them, on you. If you shine it brightly enough, see what you are doing. You have taken the spotlight shining on yourself, it's shining so brightly. The other person, the stranger, your conversation partner is getting blinded to the fact that you did not give your partner a chance to speak about his or her life. You kept the spotlight on you. I, me, myself. I, me, myself, mine. I'm repeating once again. When you're talking to somebody, imagine that a spotlight is there between the two of you. When you are speaking, the spotlight is on you. When he is speaking, the spotlight is on him. And if the spotlight is shining too brightly on you, so your conversation partner will be blinded to the fact that you hardly gave him or her a chance to discuss about his or her life. You have hardly said a word, but then if you do the opposite, if you actually shift the spotlight to him or her, he will feel that he is the one who's doing the talking, he is the one who's taking the conversation ahead, he is the one who's taking the lead in the conversation, in the speaking, and you have hardly said a word about yourself. So the longer you keep it shining away from you, keep that spotlight away from you, make that spotlight shine on him or her, the more interesting that person will find you. That person will think you are such an interesting person. You are allowing the other person to actually speak about his or her life. That is the ideal case. That is called as a Swiveling Spotlight. Keep the focus of the conversation, the spotlight on them, not on you. Is that point clear? Next. What should I speak now? Ab main kya bolu? In the sense, what I'm saying now is that sometimes what happens is that we don't have words or we don't want to speak. There could be n number of reasons that I don't want to speak actually. Maybe I don't have the content, maybe I don't want to speak, I'm tired, maybe I'm not in a good mood, whatever. But I don't want to think of this line that what should I speak now? I don't want to sit like this. Somebody is doing the talking and I am just sitting like this. No. Because I don't want to speak, or I mentioned I have multiple reasons. But I don't want to think about this line. This is not a good line. What should I speak now? I'll tell you why. There is a parrot here. I'll tell you that. Now, suppose you're talking to someone and that person has finished talking. Now you turn the spotlight towards the other person and he is done with the talking. He has finished talking. Now it's your turn to speak. In this situation, sometimes you fail to understand that what should you speak, and sometimes maybe your mind goes blank. Either you don't know what to speak, or even if you want to speak, your mind has gone blank. You are not getting any idea what to speak. So then you have got two options. Either you can say, yeah, of course I got it, as usual. That is again not a very good reply. Yeah, I got it. Or you could repeat the last few words of your conversation partner's words or talks or vocabulary like a parrot. Repeat the last few words of your conversation partner like a parrot. Frame that either into a statement or a question. How? Before I go ahead, this technique is called as parroting. So I'll again repeat. For example, I have shifted the spotlight on the other person. The other person is speaking, but my mind has gone blank. I don't have much to speak now. And I hate this situation when you don't have anything to speak. So you are going to repeat the last few words of your conversation partner like a parrot. And this technique is called as a parroting. Now the question is, what is parroting? All across India, all across the world, class, what is parroting? See, every time, let's take an example. I'm talking about a girl named as Jane. You know, every time her friend used to pick her up from the airport, and during the journey, her friend used to talk a lot. But unfortunately, Jane used to be very tired every time, she comes from the airport, and her friend always used to say to Jane that Jane is very boring and she never takes any interest in her friend's life, in her friend's conversation. This is what Jane's friend always used to blame or accuse or whatever. So Jane learned the parroting technique and her conversation went like this. I'm telling you that every time Jane used to come from the airport, her friend used to pick. But by the time, she actually sits down in the car, she goes to her house, in between the journey, she sometimes feels, most of the time, she's very tired because she used to take the overnight flights. And her friend used to blame that Jane is very boring, she never takes any interest in his conversation. So Jane learned the parroting technique. And her conversation went like this. Her friend said, "Hey, Jane, I went to a baseball match." So Jane just repeated the last few words, baseball match? Then he said, "Yes, I'm just coming from some show. I'm just coming from a tournament or a match." "Oh, tournament, match or show, whatever." Just repeat that last word. "Oh, I had fun. Many great artists performed in the show, or many good players played well." So just repeat. "Oh, players played well, great artist." Whatever. If there is a show, then I'm talking about the performance of the artist. If there is a match or if there is a tournament, just say, oh, great match, great tournament, players played well. That's it. Yes, Richie Rich, Jeff B, Tom C, Satya. Just take any of the random name. Oh, Tom C or Satya. That's it. Then she continued parroting until she reached home. And you know what happened at the end? When her friend dropped her at her place, her friend said that today he enjoyed the conversation with Jane a lot. So this is what is the benefit of parroting technique. And you know why this happened? This happened because most of the time people just need a reply of the conversation to continue that conversation. क्लास ऐसा क्यों हुआ? बिकॉज बहुत सारे लोगों को बातें कंटिन्यू करने के लिए they just need a reply. In order to continue the conversation, they don't need some analysis or in-depth answers from you. So most of the time, we don't have to think something original or too creative. See, don't try to think. Now, when let's assume you are tired. You don't want to think at all. Forget about being creative or some creative thinking or being original. You just want to give reply in order to, keep the conversation, make the conversation going ahead. So, in that case, it's good to use the parroting techniques because parroting fulfills that need, this need of just giving a reply in a very easy way, and it helps in continuing the conversation. So everybody understood the parroting technique? Next. Now, before I go ahead and tell you the next one, this is a super interesting session as I just shared with you. What's it? Who's that? Parroting technique. What do you do? Where are you from? Right? Just what's your name? What's his name? What's her name? So rather than just doing these kind of things or answers, I'm pretty sure after this session you will do as I'm telling to you. Now, what is the meaning of encore? Does any one of you know the meaning of encore? Anybody? E-N-C-O-R-E. Okay, I saw that. Encore is actually, let's say after a concert, maybe Jay-Z concert, maybe Ariana Grande's concert, maybe Mariah Carey's concert, right? After the concert, when people say once more, that is called as an encore because they want to hear your fantastic, they want to see or hear your fantastic performance once again. So basically, how we are relating the word encore here, I'll tell you. The next point is that how to get them happily chatting. Now, parroting technique is going on. Now again, you are in a group. You want these two people to keep on chatting and you want to just slip away. If you feel like that, oh, let me just go. Let the, others, let the two of them, let the three of them, talk to each other. Let me just go. So how to get that group happily chatting among each other? The technique is called as encore. Now I just shared with you what is encore. That additional or repeated performance of an item at the end of a concert that, as called for by an audience, that repeated or additional performance of an item at the end of a concert, that's called as encore. Once more. Again, another song from the singer, another dance from the dancer, another poem from the poet. That is encore. So this is the technique even you can use to request a repeat story from your prospect, from your client. I'm repeating once again, just like at the end of the concert. Audience shouts or they request for a repeated performance, a repeated dance from a dancer, repeated song from a singer, a repeated poem from a poet. Similarly, if you have a prospect or a client request request a repeat story from that prospect. Now the question that's going on in your mind is that, ma'am, what kind of story? I'll tell you. You're sitting, let's say, with your potential employer. You're sitting with your, some valued acquaintance, and you really want to impress. So request a repeat story. Let's say the two of you are chatting with a group of people. Let's say you and your potential employer, your valued acquaintance is sitting with you. And you really want that two of you are chatting with a group of people. So simply turn to that person, your manager, your boss, your senior, your valued acquaintance. Just turn to him and say, hey, Mark, or sir, or ma'am, I bet everyone would love to hear about the time you ... did something. Basically, I have imaginary ellipses I have shown you. Here I have written a comment, here I have written something, a statement, but in reality you would speak like this, and I bet everyone would love to hear about the time when you... That means that there is a particular story related with your boss, your manager, your valued employer, your valued acquaintance, your potential employer, anyway, your interviewer, anybody. As I just shared with you, look, you are sitting with the prospect, your client, your prospect. So in that case, when in that group, when you have requested your boss, your manager, your prospect client to repeat that story, for example, hey, I'm sure, sir, everyone would be happy, or everyone would love to hear about the time when you... So here I said about the time when you rescued the kittens from the tree. Somehow they jump up the tree, and I would like to hear, or everybody present here would love to hear about the time when you rescued the kittens from the tree. So how will this help you? How will this help the other person? Actually, your conversation partner is secretly loving it. Your conversation partner is secretly loving that. The subtext of your request is the story of yours. Basically, you are giving a subtle hint to your conversation partner that, oh my God, your story was so terrific. I want my other friends, I want my group to hear it. Did you get it? What did I just do? Encore. I requested a repeat of the story of my conversation partner. And among the crowd, among all the people, when I requested him, my conversation partner secretly loved that. Basically, you gave a hint to your partner that your story was so terrific, I want my other friends to hear it. After all, only crowd pleasers are asked to do an encore. See, if you don't love the singer of the concert, the dancer of a dance concert, you will not request an encore. You will not ask for an encore. Am I correct? You will only ask for an encore if he is or she is a crowd pleaser. Then only they are asked to do an encore. So whenever you are at a meeting, whenever you are at a party with someone important, think of some stories he or she told you. Think of some stories. For example, to be honest with all of you, when you speak about the attitude of gratitude, when you speak about the 3Ds, when you speak about a lot of concepts that I told you, be it about the verbal ability or the reading comprehension, be it about life related, be it about communication related or books related. So what you are doing, you are thinking of some stories that I told you, right? So similarly, choose an appropriate one from your repertoire and think, if you feel that no, I don't want to impress my conversation partner, so you keep some stories handy with you. I'm changing the situation. Please look here. Maybe you don't want to impress your conversation partner, you want to impress the entire group, you want to impress. So keep some story in your repertoire that you think the crowd will enjoy. Then shine the spotlight. If you want the other person to actually, if you want to impress your conversation partner, then just shine the spotlight on them by requesting a repeat performance. And what is the added benefit? In the beginning, I told you that you can slip away. Others can happily chatting. You can slip away. So what is the added benefit? The added benefit is once you have got them up and running, once these 2, 3, 4 people have started talking in a group, they are up and running with their conversation, you can just sneak off. You can just slip away silently and you can find more interesting company if you want to. Again, the conditions applied if you want to. So one word of warning for all of you, make sure the story you request, if you are requesting some story in which the teller is not considered as a hero, then don't request a repeat of a story where the teller, where your conversation partner is not considered as a hero or a heroine, because no one wants to retell the time they lost the sale. They they got 0 in the cricket match, they cracked up the car, they broke up the bar, or they spent the night in jail. So one piece of warning for all of you, don't request a repeat of the story where the teller is not considered as a hero or he or she is not having some positive or good experiences, because nobody wants to share those memories, because nobody cherishes them. So make sure your requested encore is a positive story where they come out as a big winner, not the buffoon. Nobody would like to be a buffoon. Everybody would like to come out as a big winner. So requested encore should be a positive story. Next, accentuate the positive. What do I mean by accentuate the positive? Look here. Tell people something positive about yourself. What do I mean by that? Leave the embarrassing story behind. What do I again mean by that? Actually, how to, sound positive. The question is that, is it always the case that I always have to sound positive? Yes. If you sound complaining, if you sound unpleasant, if you sound negative, obviously that is not going to impress and influence others, unless and until you're not trying to get some sympathy, some soft corner in other person's heart. Ideally, it's recommended always accentuate or highlight the positive things. Now, first of all, I didn't want to talk earlier, so I used the parroting technique. Now, I simply don't want to just do the parroting. I want to talk something interesting, something creative. How can I always have something interesting to say? See, whenever you go to a social gathering, you want everybody to pay attention to you. Yeah, it happens. It's a human nature. It's necessary that whatever you talk is interesting and people are equally interested in listening to you. So whenever you go out, you must be aware of all the news. The question that I am answering here in the last section of this video is that, how can I always have something interesting to speak? I followed parroting, but parroting I was not speaking something interesting. I did some encore. I requested an encore, but even encore was not so interesting, and anyway, encore made someone else to shine. The spotlight was on somebody else. But now I want the spotlight on me, point number 1. But apart from that, I want to speak something which is very interesting. Whenever I go out, I must be aware of all the news. What do I mean by that? What's the benefit of this approach? Why should I go, with an updated version of the news? Actually, if you have this information beforehand, then you can try to make the conversation interesting on n number of topics, on multiple topics. You can make the conversation interesting. That is called as the latest news. Don't leave your home without it. Agree, you check your shoes, you check your heels, you check your blazers, you check your dress, you check your apparels before going to the social gathering or the party or the meeting. But if you really want to make your conversation interesting, don't leave the house without the news. Most of you will think only about your outfit when you're planning to go out for a social gathering, matching shoes, watch, hairstyle, the car which I'm going to take today, So you forget sometimes, you forget the most important thing, and that is you are not carrying the latest current topics in your mind. For an impressive communication, always carry the latest current topics in your mind for an impressive communication. So whenever you plan to go for any social gathering or to meet anyone, try to read about the current events, the latest trends beforehand. Now the questions are, man, there are so many current events topics. Can you give me a list of common topics which I can discuss with others, or which I can use to make my communication an impressive one? Yes. You could have the news about environmental issues, stock market, new government policies, international news, latest or upcoming movies, events, etc. I'll repeat once again. It's environmental issues, stock market, new government policies, international news, latest or upcoming movies, events, etc. So basically, this will help you to have a ready-made repository of topics. You have a ready-made repository of topics, and you are going to talk about that with your conversation partner. And when you talk in this manner, your conversation partner will consider you as a knowledgeable person about every topic. Getting the point? So before I take your leave, I hope the particular strategies of what's it, who's that, Swiveling Spotlight, latest news. There are so many strategies that I discussed today. All of these strategies will come handy to you, and even keep your ears and eyes open. Whatever the situation is, you have to behave accordingly, and I'll post the assignment in the comment section of this video. Hope you really enjoyed the session. Whenever the session ends, I always get wonderful comments from all of you that you have really learned, and trust me, this really motivates me to teach you more and more. So alright, time to say goodbye. This is Shruti, Kaura signing off. Take care. Don't forget to carry the latest news whenever you go out for a social gathering. This is the most important thing. This is the most important lesson today. Alright, adios and gracias. I'll take your leave.